Hi friend, I'm down at the beach, and before coming down here I was watching your video about the incident in the car park where, because of the attitude that you perceived in a man and his wife, you didn't feel able to offer them help. It reminded me so much of a story that somebody told me, and they told me this, it was over 30 years ago, that I thought I just wanted to share it with you. Now, the man who told it to me was white. He was working in an African country, and the reason he was working in the African country was because of the empathy he felt with the African people in the country where he was. And he was driving late at night and ran into the back of a truck which was parked on the road with no lights on. He managed to step from the rack. His wife was very seriously injured, and as he was there, the guy in the truck, which had broken down, was there, and I think he was a white guy too. They waited a very long time, because they were out in the bush, they waited a very long time before another vehicle came into view. And the person who was telling me the story stepped out on the road to flag it down, and the guy next to him, as the car came forward and as the headlamps glared past, sort of came into view and they could see the people in the vehicle, the guy next to him said, "They're black." And as he did so, the person who told me the story said, I felt my hand, as it were, dropping down the side of my body, and we watched the car drive past. And I thought to myself, my God, what have I done? My wife is there dying in a car wreck, and I have just let pass hope, the only hope on this road of her surviving. Now, as matters turned out, another vehicle came along and he didn't make the same mistake twice. But what he told me was this. He said, when I went out to that country, he said, I was full of enthusiasm, and genuinely I just believed that I just loved people for who they were, not the colour of their skin, not what any sort of social perceptions about them. And he said, but I realised that I had imbibed through other white people that he'd been in contact with, unnoticed in his heart, he'd imbibed an attitude that made him cautious of black people. And he felt so ashamed. His wife survived, and but he felt so ashamed of what he'd done and how he'd been. It greatly and profoundly affected him for the rest of his life. And I wanted to share that because sometimes we are driven by either ideas that we've just caught from other people without noticing, or perhaps they're being put into us by parents. They're not people to trust. I just want to share something with you too, because Jesus told a story which has very similar overtones, and it was as follows. A Jewish man was travelling on a trip from Jerusalem to Jericho, and he was attacked by bandits. They stripped him of his clothes and money, beat him up and left him half dead beside the road. By chance a Jewish priest came along, but when he saw the man lying there, he crossed to the other side of the road and passed him by. A temple assistant walked over and looked at him lying there, but he also passed on the other side. Then a despised Samaritan came along, and when he saw the man, he felt deep pity. Kneeling beside him, the Samaritan soothed his wounds with medicine and bandaged them. Then he put the man on his own donkey and took him to an inn, where he took care of him. The next day he handed the innkeeper 2 pieces of silver and told him to take care of the man. If his bill runs higher than that, he said, I'll pay the difference the next time I'm here. Now, which of these 3 would you say was a neighbour to the man who was attacked by bandits? Jesus asked. The man replied, the one who showed him mercy. Then Jesus said, yes, now go and do the same. And I think what Jesus is pointing out there is that sometimes it's the people who are not of our clan, of our race, of our persuasion, of our sexual orientation, of our political views, of our religious views, that can come to our aid. And we could be in danger of turning them aside, just like the guy turned you aside by his body language in the car park. The Samaritan, of course, the man lying on the ground who'd been beaten up by the bandits, he wasn't in a position to refuse any aid given to him. But the probability is, if he'd been awake and saw the Samaritan coming along, he'd probably be saying, I hope that guy doesn't want to help me, because I really don't want a Samaritan helping me, because the Samaritans and the Jews were really not the best of friends. How would I have reacted in your situation? I think I would have done exactly what you did, and I would have felt a rat afterwards, perhaps like you've done, but you shouldn't, because you know, the great thing is that your heart was leading you in the right direction. You didn't bottle out. Sometimes it is wise not to press forward and offer assistance where people would reject us or reject the assistance. It's no big deal. I know on some of your videos you've talked about seeking God, and I tell you what he seeks, according to the Bible. He seeks the sort of heart in men that you just showed by wanting to help that guy. And don't treat yourself badly, don't beat yourself up because that didn't work out. Maybe it's given him cause to think, because you didn't mention how long the guy had to wait to have his problem solved for him. And perhaps that in itself will help him understand that next time when he needs help, he better just learn how to receive help from those who are there and willing to give it, rather than have a preconceived notion about them. And how would he have reacted if you'd offered that help and opened the car? I think he may well have been saying very much the same thing that you were at the end of your video. But hey, let's not dwell on that. I think you did well, and I think you did even better by sharing it, because it's only by sharing these things with each other that we can open up and we can find a better way. And I love your videos, man. Just keep making them and keep smiling, and don't forget the Vina dog.